Hi students, this is Mrs. Fernandi. We're going to do some word work and we're going to have a different list of words each week, and some of you may recognize the first list. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to share a screen with you on some words that we'll start with. The first thing we're going to do is I'll just read the words. You can read along with me, and we're just going to divide the words into syllables. Our first word is action. The movie was full of action. We have ac and then T-I-O-N, shun. Our next word has 3 syllables, discussion, dis, and then we can see cuss. We're going to divide right between the 2 S's. We always divide between 2 consonants that are the same. Discussion, television, tel, vi, and then jeune, television. Our next one has 4 syllables as well. Information. Right? You're getting the idea. Attention. Let's see what we have here. 2 T's. So we're going to go right between the 2 T's. At, ten, shun. The next one is only 2 syllables, making it super easy because we're always going to want to keep that shun together. So we're just going to come right between the T and the C. Section. Decision. Some people say decision, some people say decision, making that E a schwa, which we write like an upside down E. Decision. That's a jeune, S-I-O-N. Much more common to have the jeune sound with S-I-O-N. 2 syllables for the next one. Question. Question. He asked a really good question. Now, if you listen really carefully, you'll see that in the rare occasion that T-I-O-N has the ch sound. Question. Interesting, huh? The next word is future. Talk about the CH. That T right before U-R-E is often made with the ch sound. Future. But we use just a T. And that's when we hear that U-R-E behind it. The next word is driving. We do know that comes from the word drive. We know that the rule is that we use that silent E at the end to help that I say a long I sound. In this case, though, we're going to have to get rid of that E in order to add the ing ending here. So the first I still says the long I sound, because it used to have that E, and now we get rid of the E to put in the ing, and we still hear driving. The next word is below. B, long E, and low. You guys can, both of those words you can spell right below. Party, we threw a party for the teacher, party. And just pointing out that E, long E sound we use a Y to make that in a word that has more than 2 syllables or more. The next one is tube, and I'm just pointing out that the tube long U is said because the silent E is there. Answer. Which word in answer is silent? Yep, the W. We don't hear the W, answer. But we do hear the sound, and although we can make with a variety of vowels in the position of the E, at the end of the word we typically write ER to make the sound. Period. P-re-ud. And again, we can hear the schwa, that upside down E that we say in English a lot for the O this time. All right, let's do a little bit. Can you pause your video if you don't have right now a piece of paper or a whiteboard and a marker, or a piece of paper and a pencil, and we're going to write about, I think we're going to write about 6 of these words down. Oh, 8 of them. Let's try 8 of them. So I'm going to share, let's share a whiteboard right now with you so I can write them as well. And the first word you're going to write is the word action. The movie was full of action. Say action. Now say it in syllables. And you can always use your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder. 1, 2, 3, and your neck, which I just used my head for 4. So action. Go ahead and spell that first syllable. AC. And then it comes from the word act. So we can just add, we know that action then becomes AC and then TION. Our next word is discussion, discussion. We're going to have 3 syllables there. First, we're going to have dis, and then cuss, C-U-S, and then shun, discussion, discussion. Good. The next one is television. So first syllable, tel, T-E-L, that's a schwa. We're going to use the E for that. Vi, you can hear is a V and a short I sound. And jeune, instead of T-I-O-N, usually saying shun, jeune is usually spelled S-I-O-N. You can really listen for that and make a pretty good guess. The next word, number 4, is decision. Again, you can say decision or decision. It's going to be spelled with an E either way. Either the E is making a long E sound or it's making a schwa depending on how you say it. Sit, we're going to use C-I. The C always makes a S sound in front of an I. Decision. Again, you can hear the jeune. So what are you going to guess? Yes, yes, the next word is attention. Go ahead and write that one down. At-ten-shun. Not jeune, but shun this time again. Okay, first syllable, at, ten, and then shun, T-I-O-N. Good job. Number 6 is section. They sat in the front section of the auditorium. Sec. Do you hear that C? That C, the K sound at the end of a syllable is most often we use a C for that. So section again, T-I-O-N. Good. And number 7 is information, which you can do. Information. We have 4 syllables. The first one, easy peasy, in, for, may, long A sound, and then shun. Yep, T-I-O-N. Well done. And our last one for this part is question. This is interesting when we talked about this. So when we're spelling question, the first sound we hear is qu, which we always have to use 2 letters for, Q-U. Then we can listen for the vowel sound, que. I hear that short E. I'm sure you do too. Question. And this is when that shun actually makes almost this sound, question. Do you see that? See what I wrote? C-U-C-H-U-N. That's kind of what we hear when we hear that question. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this, and then we're going to look at some rules using a PowerPoint that I have made to really think about the rules here. Let's see how well this works. Okay, so let's see if this will work for us. From the beginning. Okay, let's see. All right, here we have it. Shun and jeune, typically. T-I-O-N versus S-I-O-N. Oh, wait. Oh yeah, there we go. Clue number 1. When a word ends in a consonant and then the letter T, shun is spelled T-I-O-N. So here's some great examples. Subtract. Here's our letter T. So we're just it's gonna become subtraction. We see that. Except, there's the consonant and the T. So we're just gonna add I-O-N, exception. Correct, again, consonant T. It's going to become correction. Prevent, consonant T again, will become prevention. I think you should probably show your family some of these rules. Most adults don't know some of these rules. We just do it because that's what we're used to. Clue number 2. When a word ends in T-E, shun is spelled T-I-O-N also. So we're going to drop that E. We're just going to add I-O-N. So for example, the word operate becomes operation. The word migrate becomes migration. You're just dropping the E and adding I-O-N. Dictate becomes dictation, and pollute, which none of us like to do, becomes pollution. You see that? Pretty simple. Those 2 are really simple to follow, I think. Clue number 3, I am in the way in my own screen for clue number 3, is when a word ends in IT, shun, the T changes to S and then S-I-O-N. This one is a little tricky, so follow this carefully. If it ends in IT, like in permit, we are going to get rid of the T altogether and put double S-I-O-N. So permit, to allow something to happen, is the same as permission. Admit, also ending in the IT, we're going to get rid of that T, change it to double S, and add I-O-N. So admit, which means to allow someone in. I admit you into my home. We're going to change it into admission. Omit, which means I'm going to leave something out, also ending in IT, becomes an omission. That means I didn't do it, I forgot to put it in. And submit, which a lot of you are submitting things into Schoology or Seesaw, you see that you're going to drop that T and you're going to add S-S-I-O-N again. So the clues continue. All right, let's go to the next one. Clue number 4. When a word ends in D-E, jeune is spelled S-I-O-N. So if you think about this D-E, we're going to change it to S-I-O-N. So divide becomes division, and you can hear the jeune, you can hear the S-I-O-N versus the T-I-O-N on this in all 4 of these words. So divide becomes division, explode becomes explosion, conclude, to finish, becomes conclusion, invade becomes invasion. All of those have that jeune sound. Okay. And clue number 6. When a word ends in ST, shun is spelled T-I-O-N again. So let's just quickly go through these. I feel like there's a lot of them, but you'll get used to them. You can always watch it again too. Suggest, ST becomes suggestion. And this is sort of similar to the very first one we looked at. If you just think of S as a consonant T, it's the same rule basically. We're just adding I-O-N. So digest becomes digestion, and quest becomes question, and exhaust becomes exhaustion. If you're listening really carefully to me, you hear that C-H-U-N sound. Suggest, suggestion, digest, digestion, quest, question, and exhaust, exhaustion. Okay, this is that last thing we talked about before. That sound chur is usually spelled T-U-R-E. So our first one is future, and our second one is temperature. There are lots of rules in spelling English, but they all do start to make sense. In the end, there are not that many exceptions to the rule, considering how many rules there are. Okay, that's enough for today. Hopefully, you can think of some more T-U-R-E words, chur words before I see you. And every time you go to spell a shun or jeune word, think about some of those rules. Do your best guess. Be well.